Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Turin here, and today, guys, we're going to play a live BattleCast versus the Vampire Counts. So we're actually going to play the Warriors of Chaos. Again, a very, very tricky matchup, but I think we can make it work. We're going to try something a little different. So we're actually going to get some aspiring champions. We're going to get Archon as well, but we're actually going to try out the Chosen just with the standard shields. Now, I know it might seem somewhat counterintuitive, but if you look at their stats, and, they are a bit cheaper than the Halberd and Great Weapon variant. So these guys have 52 melee defense and 34 melee attack, and these guys actually have 46 melee attack and 62 melee defense. So they're extremely durable. So I'm going to try them out and see how they do. But they aren't, it's really funny. Interestingly enough, Chosen aren't immune to psychology, though aspiring champions are, which is quite nice. But having Archon with the crown kind of mixed in with them will make them immune to psychology. So aside from that, let's see, do we want to get some Shaggus? I feel like that could be kind of fun, right? But I think we really do need some Marauder Horsemasters. Very, very good for like skirmishing, poking down mortis engines and things like that. Or actually, you know what? Let's just go with like a really heavy Chosen core and see if that can like win out with Archon. So we're going to get 2 Halberds in there as well for the anti-large bonus. And man, this army is just... Yeah, I feel like I can't like chase anything. I'm just gonna have to like sit there and just like take it like a champ, it's gonna be rough. All right, guys, let's see what happens. So we're gonna go ahead and chevron up these guys and let's party. Let's have some fun. So it's definitely a Chosen army, to say the least. The Chosen ones. If we do end up posting this game, that's what we'll call it. So, again, you never know what your opponent's gonna do. He could just do some sort of like cheesy builder. Hey, maybe he'll even bring. Maybe he will even bring black coaches. I was actually playing a game under this account name, or I guess avatar name, Black Coach, and the guy brought like 4 Black Coaches against me. It was just a really dumb game, though, so part of me feels like I should post it, but it was just like so like haggard and one-sided, I mean, the Black Coach is obviously, having 4 is a little bit excessive, especially against a faction that is going to be inherently good against them. Against Chaos, like Black Coaches can work because, mostly infantry based, somewhat slow. You don't have like a lot of punishing mechanics against the Black Coach, but I was actually playing, who was I playing? I was playing the Beastmen, and I had like Centaurs with great weapons and poison Warhounds. And I was able to just like poison the coach and beat it down with the Centaurs. It was really funny. Maybe I'll post it. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know in the comment section below. But anyways, guys, we're going to see how this build works. I've been really wanting to do like a Chosen build with Archon and just get like only Chosen and then just, the immunity to psychology and just see if like through brute force attrition and Lord of Fire that they could win it out. Probably not, to be honest, because I think like the Vampire Counts can just inundate us too much with zombie summons, and then like, they're going to be fighting zombies. And on top of that, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tricky. I mean, I think it could be doable. It depends on how my opponent decides to play. Like, if he brought units like Blood Knights and things like that, they're going to struggle a little bit. And hopefully the Halberds will be able to, like, deal with the large units that he potentially brings in, being Cryptors. Because the Chosen with their really high melee defense, well, actually, they can beat Black Orc straight up. So the Chosen that costs 1,250 with the shields and the swords, with the very high melee attack and high melee defense, can actually straight up, like, not crush, but defeat a group of Black Orcs pretty handily. So I'm hoping they can kind of do the same thing against the Graveguard. Granted, the Graveguard will have, like, a bunch of regeneration tools that'll make it a little bit harder. So we'll see how it goes. But, guys... yeah, it's almost time. This game was actually shot before Friday's announcement, the March 31st announcement of the new races, Lustria, all that kind of fun stuff. So really excited for that. Although it's probably already been announced by the time this game gets up. So anyways, guys, let's get down to business with this tiny little Chosen army we have here. So what we're probably going to do is keep it relatively compact. We're going to keep it like this. And then we want Archon to be, I should have just took him off a horse and just have him like be there. But the problem with taking him off a horse is like he can be focused pretty aggressively. So then we're actually going to put the Halberds, like, I kind of want to put them in the back. But again, like having them in the front, because they do have the charge defense against large foes, is quite nice. But yeah, let's actually just put them in the wings here. So man, this is definitely a very, very elite Chaos army. And we'll put the Aspiring Champions like that. Oh man, this is so bad. This is so incredibly haggard. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I know you guys were asking for some niche, strange builds, but God, this looks so cool. I mean, I think the Warriors of Chaos, like aesthetically speaking, are some of the coolest looking characters in the Warhammer universe. Their armor is just cool and kind of like, I don't know what like the historical time period would be. That would be kind of like what their armor is influenced by, but I guess like maybe like Teutonic, Germanic. I really don't know. You guys some of you history buffs will have to let me know in the comments below. So yeah, we're just going to deploy a little bit closer, and hopefully we can catch my opponent off guard, like at the very least. Builds like this obviously aren't on paper aren't like as competitive, but sometimes like when you pick really strange builds, it can catch people off guard, and the traditional armies wouldn't work well against this. But yeah, we got some pretty heavy leadership, but man, why do Chosen only have 76 leadership? So who would have thought that Chosen would have less leadership than Eternal Guards? I mean, Chosen are literally like some of the most elite warriors in the old world, and they have lower leadership than baseline Wood Elf infantry. Granted, the Wood Elves, I don't know lore-wise if they have high leadership, but you would think Chosen would be a little more elite in that sense. But if we look at the crown, it looks like we're getting started already. So So he's got some Graveguard with Great Opens. He's got a Mortis Engine, so a lot of things that are going to be very punishing to me. So let's go ahead and where do we want to go? We can probably go over here. Let's see. It looks like he's probably going to advance because again he is playing the vampire count, so it's probably not going to be too much crazy strategy going on. But I would like to like fight the the battle in open field over here. I don't want to like go into the forest, so we're actually going to go over here and see if we can just like get him to come out and fight me. Yeah, it's funny because I was watching some lore videos on Wulfric the Wanderer, the Chaos legendary lord from Tabletop, and like he has this like challenge mechanic, right? So I guess in the lore he's like kind of known for like taking out enemy lords and just being like a duelist. And man, I really hope we get a lord like that has like a taunt ability. How cool would that be if like some like savage like Northland Chaos lord could just like taunt enemy lords into mortal combat? So cool. So my opponent's coming out to meet me. He does have some Blood Knights, which probably won't do much of anything against me because they do have anti-large. Their armor piercing is 11, so I guess it's not like insignificant, but it's still they're going to bounce off these chosen who have like what 120 armor. Like everything in my army has 120 armor, so he's definitely going to need some AP. So he might like come around the back, but the chosen with halberds will seriously just like tear those guys to pieces. So we're just going to kind of position over here and just kind of wait and see what's going on. So that's also kind of nice on that same coin because we do get some very healthy wounds of magic. But let's see if we can scout a little bit. So pretty traditional army, skeleton spears mixed in with cryptors. Yeah, this looks like a somewhat competitive build. And mortis engines are incredibly devastating against the warriors of chaos. Like very, very hard to deal with. That's why if I were like playing in a tournament, I would be bringing Master Marauder Horsemen or Marauder Horse Masters to help deal with that. So looks like he's kind of lurking in the forest back there. I don't know what he's up to, but you know what, guys? I have no problem with that. And let's actually move over here a little bit just so we can get... Yeah, and he's got some dire wolves. They're literally like useless against me. Like these chosen they have such incredible stats. If you look at it on paper, I mean 49 melee attack is really high, but 60 plus melee defense. I mean Norgumling's Ironbreakers are like in the 80s, but these guys are just like next level. But just look at this big haggard like blob right here running. If he had like a Winds of Death or something and was able to get me while I was like running in this formation, that would just be incredibly devastating. So we're gonna set up here. We do have some halberds in the back, so I probably need to be cognizant of that and like make sure they're watching out for those Blood Knights because I don't really have like good line of sight back here. So I'm a little scared to run Archaon in here because I don't want him to get like surrounded by Blood Knights. So all right, guys. Let's let the games begin. So we're gonna scurry back here just a little bit, just kind of see what's going on. This group of halberds can kind of like zone right here, and this other one can kind of sit in the middle. And let's do it to it. Let's see if we can pull this one out. Let's see if Archaon's chosen. But Archaon, he has to be like in the main fight because I need that immunity to psychology. And it looks like he's using an invocation from Heck already, which is interesting. So we don't want to lose out on the charge bonus. So we need to make sure to charge in here. It's going to be pretty important. It looks like he has some skeleton warriors, which is really funny. So these aspiring champs, we're actually going to kind of like push them through here. We'll push these guys through here. Just kind of keep these halberds. It's going to be really important that I like stay on top of this and watch. So we want to see where the cryptors are going. And it looks like he's just engaging his front line, doing a little bit of a staggered engagement. And you can see he has like a lot of skeleton spears, maybe expecting some sort of a funny business from me. And the cryptors are coming in, so we're going to path those halberds after them. Just kind of keep an eye on those Blood Knights. They'll probably like try and come and like clip one of my flanks here. So let's go ahead and use the Flaming Sword of Ruin right now, right when those cryptors coming in. And we're going to have like a very, very excessive amount of winds of magic, so we can just go ahead and use these guys. And it looks like in the front line, the Skeleton Warriors and the Graveguard are, definitely taking a bit of a beating. Let's go ahead and cast Piercing Bolts of Burning, like right here in the back. I think that should be pretty good. And you can see the Chosen are just like cutting through, but he summons another group on top of the Halberds, which is fine. I'm taking a little bit of damage because, again, he does have AP there, so we get the Piercing Bolts. Let's see how much damage it actually does to that Mortis Engine. So actually not as much as you would think, but still it hits some of these Cryptors, it hits these Graveguard, and we seem to be doing okay. These Chosen on the outside, they haven't taken any casualties yet, but they are fighting Skeleton Warriors, which isn't like the best case scenario. So, but yeah, we are immune to psychology, which is quite nice. If we look at the radius right here, it's pretty vast, but you can see the Blood Knights coming in the back. So let's get this other group of Halberds over here and see if we can like path and like collapse on them. So we're going to kind of like force path over here. We'll get Archaon kind of running over here as well. And we don't want him to like overextend too much, but he does do fire damage, which is going to be really, really nice as well. So these Halberds are kind of going, but my opponent does get a nice little charge here and is able to like pull out. But now we know where they're at, so we can like kind of adjust accordingly. So yeah, so Archaon, we want to get him fighting on some of these Cryptors here on the front line. And yeah, just get these Halberds kind of zoning those guys out so that doesn't happen again. So great. So we should have another Flaming Sword of Ruin soon. We need to make sure to use that every chance we get. And of course, this tight formation is being rewarded by that. But man, the balance of power is like so heavily in my opponent's favor. It's a little disheartening. So for the Blood Knights, we're going to push out there, see if we can catch them. We do have a nice little leadership buff. And the Wings, our guys are doing pretty good. Again, they are fighting, fodder units. But we don't have any way of like getting that Mortis Engine, which is a little bit disheartening. So we're just going to kind of keep running around in the back, trying to zone out my opponent, keep Archaon and the boys fighting in the front line, and he seems to be doing pretty well for himself against those Crypt Dwarves. He hits very hard, he does fire damage, and it looks like some, yeah, those are just dire wolves, so not concerned about those guys. And the Blood Knights look like they're trying to decide where they want to come in, and it looks like they are coming in right here pretty hot. So we're just going to hang tight, just keep Archaon in the front. He is killing quite a few Crypt Dwarves, but man, those zombies are doing a very, very good job of screening us. But the Halberds in the front line are doing pretty good. He does have Vlad von Karsine, which is a little bit tricky. And yeah, I probably will have enough for like one more piercing bolt, and then yeah, let's go ahead and get these guys back, push over there, and see if we can at least do a little bit of damage on those guys. But our Chosen are starting to take quite a bit of damage, you know, across the front line. And let's see if we can go ahead and use another piercing bolt in here to work down these Crypt Dwarves. And we do get the Halberds like clipping the wings of these Blood Knights, which is going to be really, really good. So we use a piercing bolt here, and it should do pretty good damage against those Crypt Dwarves, to be honest. Like, it should maybe almost finish those guys off. So it hits them. Actually, didn't make that much square contact, but yeah, they are crumbling now, which is nice. So a little bit of game lag there. I haven't had that before. So these Halberds were able to zone out those Blood Knights, which is really nice, but our Aspiring Champions are actually starting to crumble a little bit. So let's just have them fight zombies while we're waiting. And a lot of our guys are becoming steady, which is a little bit unnerving, to say the least. So let's see if we can get him on this Mortis Engine back here. I know that's a little bit risky, taking him out of the front line here, but the Halberds, let's go ahead and get them re-engaged on those Blood Knights. We're definitely taking some very, very aggressive cycle charging. So we're going to get Archaon and the boys in the back, kind of just run up into the hills, and man, yeah, so our guys, how are they wavering? They're like full health. And, you know, I think Chosen should definitely have higher leadership. You know, I invested a lot of money in them, and you would think they would perform a little bit better than they are right now. But it seems we're doing okay. Like, we've taken out quite a bit of his army, including some of the fodder and other units like that. But, yeah, I guess these Chosen have honestly taken quite a bit of damage. But these ones are wavering. Archaon doing a lot of damage to that Mortis Engine, actually, which is quite nice. But I think a big part of it is the zombie summons behind the front line. It's pretty devastating, to say the least. So we're going to keep pushing back here, seeing if Archaon can maybe zone this guy out. Let's go ahead and get these Aspiring Champions kind of back in here, and we really need to save that like healthy group of Halberds. Like, they're healthy. They're in great shape. So Archaon and the boys are still chasing here, and I kind of wish I had brought in the Fireball right now. I'm kind of feeling it a little bit. So we're going to run like into these Halberds over here and take these Halberds and go after the Blood Knights. Then we're going to turn around and re-engage, which should be able to do, you know, some pretty good work for us. So great. So we're going to get these guys over here, see if we can clean up some of these dire wolves. And yeah, I guess we're still fighting, guys. Like, I guess it's not 100% over yet. These Chosen are shaken. Yeah, these ones are shaken. We do have some guys coming back, which is nice. So maybe we can clean up, get these Halberds and this nice big like blob here and just start to Death Star. But playing the Death Star against the Vampire Counts is pretty tricky because, again, they do have like a lot of units that, you know, are conducive to that with the Mortis Engine and all that stuff. So a lot of their army's starting to, you know, get somewhat low. The Chosen have been holding up pretty well in the wings. Let's see how Papa Archaon's doing. He does have his Halberds here. So maybe we can kind of get around. And now that the Blood Knights have been dealt with, we can start like, you know, pressuring that Mortis Engine again. We do have that immunity to psychology and a lot of units coming back, so we really need these guys to like hustle over here to keep our army from breaking, essentially. So Archaon does get out. Come on, push it, man, push it. Let's go ahead and use the Flaming Sword of Ruin right here to give us that nice bit of burst damage. And what do we have? So we have 42 Chosen still fighting, and yeah, we're not going to be able to catch that. So I think we just kind of have to, you know, fight the good fight, just get in here and push it a little bit. I hate to have Archaon fighting on skeletons, so let's get him up and around and see if we can at least get on a little bit more of an optimal target. But we do get some zombies coming in here, so we'll get these Chosen, and, you know, that's actually a decent little position for them to be in. So we're going to kind of just pressure this Mortis Engine, and it's actually okay because we're keeping it away from, like, the main fight. So let's get these Halberds in here as well. And Archaon, what's it called? The White King actually missed his charge a little bit. And Archaon should be able to kill him relatively efficiently, and here we're actually doing okay. So the tide turning a little bit. I mean, the balance of power is still very heavily in my opponent's favor, but I feel like it's going better than it was before. So we still do have some Chosen fighting him, but man, my leadership is so low, like across the board. That's definitely the one thing that's stressing me out. But we don't have any units like come back from route. There are some Blood Knights over there. Archaon, if he can kill this White King, that would be incredibly nice. So we're going to kind of keep pathing through, and you can see that Mortis Engine just kind of scurrying around over there, which is pretty funny. But some of the skeletons in critical binding, but a lot of his troops here are in like really, really bad shape, actually. So we're going to keep fighting, and if we can kill this White King, that might actually really help this balance of power. But we are getting drained right now, which is a little bit unfortunate. But the Chosen coming through a little bit, guys. I mean, you know, against a pretty competitive army, like it's not as bad as one would think, and I think these guys with the shields perform pretty well. So we're able to kill the White King there, which is really nice. So let's collapse on the back of these skeleton spearmen, see if we can do a little bit of work there. And we really need to keep these guys like alive. My opponent doesn't have much left though, but that Mortis Engine is going to be incredibly difficult to kill, and we're going to start having some army losses issues soon, especially considering the balance of power. But how is it so far on that end of the spectrum? Because, you know, I have 120 troops left against his 161, but yeah, it looks like we're just starting to suffer army losses at the end of the day. But these guys are still steady, thankfully. Archaon is probably, you know, keeping them in the fight with his leadership. And yeah, it looks like it's just Vlad, some Blood Knights, and some of these guys. So there's really not much left. So pretty incredible stuff. Let's see if we can get some of these chosen over there, and let's pull our count over to this fight, because I think that's going to be a little bit more useful. So these halberds will clean up these skeletons. Unfortunately, they're a little bit too slow for me to like micro around, but we're going to go ahead and just put him. Let's have him go. I think these blood knights are kind of taken care of by the halberds, so let's actually go after this mortis engine over here and just start chasing them. But man, another zombie summon, which is brutal. But yeah, Archaon should be able to chase that, but yeah, he's getting targeted by these blood knights, which is going to be a little bit tricky. So perhaps a mistake on my end, but let's see if he can like finish those guys off. And we really need these guys to crumble right now. And you know, a lot of my guys are wavering. We are having some army loss issues, to say the least. So yeah, and right now you can see everything's collapsing. So the build wasn't terrible, actually. I think with like some, you know, I went very like deep over like the far side of like the Chosen, like to the point of excess. I think if I had like tuned it a little bit and gotten like some Marauder Horsemen or some units that I could have perhaps like skirmished with the Mortis engine, it might have been able to work, you know? Like, take a look at that, guys. Like, those are pretty massive kills. And his army was like a good army. Like, it was well-rounded. It wasn't like a you know, bad Vampire Counts army. It was good. Like, he had spears against Shaggoths and against Chaos Knights. He had armor-piercing front line. He had a Mortis engine. And the Chosen, they stood and fight. And Archaon was really, really good, I think. Even though I was a little suboptimal with some of my plays. I think, like, what you could do is maybe like cut a Chosen and get like a little bit more unit density. So get like some regular Chaos Warriors and have like a Chosen core. And I think that could have been like actually not a decent build, but a little bit more competitive, I would say. But anyways, it was a pretty cool performance. Well played to my opponent. ... Look forward to seeing you again on ladder. And I hope you guys enjoyed that Chosen experimentation. Definitely look forward to kind of playing around with more Chosen builds. But I really think these guys are kind of underrated, the Chosen with the shields. Very, very high stats on them. So well played to my opponent again. Thanks for watching, guys, and have an excellent night.